So,
All right, everybody. Justin Roy here with J. Roy and Associates, another sit down. And today I'm joined a little virtual today, but Alex Dumas. How you doing, Alex?
doing great, Justin. Great to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for coming. Like I said, another sit down. We're trying to get this going, talking to everyday people in and around the community of all walks of life, and just talking. We're doing this. I kind of feel like we're kind of going through some stuff that it's good just to sit down and talk. So that's the whole basis of this. Again, if you like what you're seeing on here, don't forget to like and subscribe. But let's just get right into it with Alex. So, Alex, I know we talked a little bit off camera, and you are not you live in North Carolina now, but you're not from North Carolina. So, why don't you just give us a little, kind of where you're from, a little bit about where your upbringing, and what brought you to these parts of the country.
Yeah. So, yes, I am what we would call a Yankee, right? I'm one of these transplants. I grew up in New York, specifically in Long Island, Brentwood, New York, and yeah, had a really great childhood, middle class neighborhood, a lot of diversity in my neighborhood. Grew up in uh, different type of school systems where I had kind of both sides of the fence, where I was in predominantly white schools, Catholic schools, and then in my community, a lot of Hispanics, blacks, white people too. So I got a lot of exposure to different sides of the fence, so to speak. And me and my family, we moved out to the Clayton area in 4 years ago. Yeah. So yeah, end of 2017, we moved out here after visiting, and it's a little quick funny story about that. Because me and my wife had been talking about moving forever, right? We were just undecided. A lot of things came up, financial things, having babies, that puts a delay on things, and just fear in general. And we had been talking about Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, just all these different places. And Fourth of July weekend in 2017, we decided, okay, let's come out here because we had been researching Cary, but we saw, Joco. We were like, all right, let's check this area out. So we were visiting Smithfield, Garner, Clayton, and by the end of that trip, we were like, okay, this might be the place. I even got sick on the trip because me being, an up norther, I came in like sweatpants. I'm not used to like it being that hot. It was like
Right.
90 something degrees. I got sick, like a heat sickness. Like, so we're trying to go and look at houses and meet realtors and all this stuff, and I'm just jacked up, like, not feeling good. But I say all of that to kind of get the preface of, you know, basically 8, 9 years of us kind of spinning our circle, spinning in this wheel, and then we make a decision within 8 weeks. We packed up everything, dogs, kids, pew, we were down here. So a lot of things can happen really quickly with a little bit of focus, and yeah, that's the story right now of where we're at.
Yeah, man, and it's scary moving across country. It's one thing to do it by yourself, but when you're hauling a family, that's just the anxiety, the unknown. It's a big move. But we're seeing a
Yeah.
lot of it, as you know, a lot in this area. I mean, it's rare when I meet somebody who's like from North Carolina. Like, hey, how you doing? All right. I'm not saying I haven't met any, but it's far and few between.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and the community that we're in, there's a lot of people from
oh,
transplants from Virginia, Pennsylvania, Jersey, like it's a lot.
so from New York, are you a Yankee or Met?
Yankees. Yeah,
Okay,
Yankees all day. Yeah.
Giants or Jets?
Giants, man, big blue.
Okay,
Let's go.
yeah,
Giants, Knicks, Yankees. That's the triangle right there.
yeah.
No pun intended. Ah, the triangle.
My family's from upstate New York, so not everyone says not the real New York, but my mother grew up in the suburbs of Albany, and all of her siblings are stuff there. But they're Giants and Yankees all the way as well. So and Knicks and Rangers. So
All right, good peoples then.
hey, again with New York, that's rare when I find a Mets fan. It usually just seems like the Yankees and the Giants kind of dominate that area too. But I don't
Uh,
know.
yeah, there's plenty of them out there, and bless their hearts.
Yeah.
So see, that's the southerner in me now. I get to use that. I've been here for 4 years now, so I get to go with the bless my heart. I didn't know what that really was about at first.
Me
Someone said
neither.
to me, I'm like, oh, thank you. And my wife was like, hey, dummy, she's kind of like insulting you. I'm like, oh, what?
Hey, so do you miss New York?
At times, but not really.
Okay.
I mean, it was a difficult transition, especially for my kids. My daughter was 7 at the time. My son was 2, so he didn't really, you know anything about New York. But yeah, it was tough for her, like just that adjustment, missing family, friends, obviously, kind of going into this new unknown place. Yeah, and the familiarity, right? It's just like, oh, I know which exit to go off of here. I
Yeah,
know where this pizza shop is. I know where to get this Chinese food, whatever. Just those little things you're familiar with. But it's, I love it here. I really
yeah,
enjoy NC. It's been good to us, and we've been able to do a lot of the things that we wouldn't have had the opportunity to do in New York. As far as like where we are right now, we built a house a few years ago that wouldn't have been possible in New York.
yeah. Well, you said you guys were talking about for, quite a few years. Was it mostly just an economic decision or was it weather played a part too?
Yeah, yeah. The economics were a big thing, but yeah, for me, I tell people this a lot. Like I've retired my shovel. I am not interested in shoveling ever again, and it's really been nice to have winters with nothing to do, with no
Right.
salt in. I used to be like, oh man, I love the summers. I was talking about this with somebody last night. Actually, he comes from my same hometown, and we're both in the same area now, and I was like, man, I love fall now. Like fall is like amazing to me because I didn't realize how hot it really gets down here. It cooks, and it's like,
Yeah.
wow, this is perfect weather. Like October, like September, October, November. Like this is beautiful. I love this. So
Yeah, we're from Michigan and we love fall. I mean, this is by far our favorite time of year as well. But it's funny, my wife still kind of bust my chops a little bit because we had two snow shovels, but I only got rid of one. I still got one in the shed. And
I,
she's like,
I
why are you
still do.
still hanging on to it? I'm like, because as soon as I get rid of it, there's gonna be like an anomaly snowstorm. And I'm gonna be
Yeah,
out there trying to shovel the driveway with a broom. So it's not bothering nobody out in that
yeah.
shed. Just leave it alone.
I still have it. I still have like a couple packs of salt. A couple years ago,
Yeah,
I think we had like a little dust up, and I kind of freaked out. I was like, I gotta get the Lowe's, and I got the
yeah,
stuff, and I'm like, I'm
yeah.
never gonna need this probably.
And then it's melted in 8 hours.
Yeah. By the time I left and came back, it was gone. I'm like, oh well, that
Yeah.
was that was an interesting dynamic too. I didn't realize, like, I thought people were joking when it's like, oh, it's gonna snow and everything shuts down. I'm like, yeah, okay. Like I'm used to it shutting down when there's like feet.
Right.
Well, I I, I experienced. I was like, oh, I got a little bit wobbly. All right, I get it. You guys don't salt around here. You guys don't do anything with the road treatments. All right,
Yeah.
I see why now.
Yeah, they don't have the equipment or the manpower. Yeah, and again, we kind of went through the same thing, and actually, we can use this as a transition. So I know, again, us talking. So you have two kids, correct?
Yes. Yep.
You have two children, and you homeschool.
Yep.
Yep, and we homeschool as well. So why don't you, I mean, kind of just talk to me about that process. Did your kids ever go to school? Was there a certain reason you chose homeschooling? How's it been going for you guys?
Yeah. Yeah. So last year the pandemic was the catalyst for that. My daughter being 10 years old at the time, fifth grade, my son being 5, about to enter into kindergarten. So he had been experiencing daycare and stuff like that, but not formal school at this point. But she did. She had been going to local schools out here and back in New York to elementary school. So it was it was a bit of a transition for all of us. I mean, I'm not a teacher by trade. I did at one point pursue my master's in special education, elementary education. Just I didn't finish it. So all these years later, circle back like, oh, here we go with me being a teacher now. So good one to you, God. Like, haha, funny. You got me. Well played. Um, but yeah, that transition was really challenging, and it's taught me a lot about the power about being structured, about being organized, and having fun, being flexible too. Because what I've learned is like I can't run it like a formal like institution. It's like
Right.
it this year has been more of what I envision it to be, as far as doing more outside things, doing more experiential things, not so much, the books are important. Yeah, the learning part is definitely important, but I want to also incorporate a lot of let's do some things that are practical. Like we're going to a grocery store, we're going to Food Line. I have this much money. I need to buy this. Like, what's our budget? What are we really looking
Yeah,
at, right? Just these
absolutely.
different things.
Yeah. It's yeah, man, I'll piggyback off that tune again. My wife does 95% of the homeschooling, so I'm not gonna jump in here and say it's mostly me, but I'm around the house and I see it and stuff. And I know, I'm sure you get it too when you talk to people who don't homeschool their kids and they're like, oh, how do you do it? Where do you find time? And it's like, I think most people envision that you're sitting at a kitchen table with your kids for 7 hours reading books, and it's just, the
Yeah.
exact opposite. I mean, like you said, there's so many ways to learn. And I just feel when you do those outside, we've gone to homeschooling trips like in Williamsburg, Virginia, and we've gone down to museums and stuff. It's like, you get to incorporate all that stuff. And I think they learn a little bit better. They're not, you know, uh, sitting for 7 hours. They don't, there's no boredom. At least that's what I find, or my observation, anyways. Listen, your kids got to learn to read and write. They got to learn the basics, but there's so much they can learn doing so much more, at least in our experience anyways, and they don't complain about it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, trips, anything, getting out in nature, just being able to connect with their own emotional intelligence, right? Just like how do you like calm yourself down after you get heated? I mean, those are big things. Like you got to figure out conflict resolution. Um, like I said, the economics, going to a store,
Yeah.
budgeting things,
So how
having
far apart?
opportunities to do sports or something like that. Like that's move your body a little bit.
Yeah, how far apart are your kids in age?
They are about 4.5 years. My
Okay.
son is 6 now. My daughter's 11. She just turned 11 in August. So they're
About
yeah
four,
they're
four and a
basically
half
about
years.
yeah about 4.5 years apart.
So is it difficult because they're that far apart in age, or is it you kind of got it handled where you're teaching them both at the same time and you kind of got it down now that you've been doing it for a year?
Yeah, yeah. The difficulty was of age for sure first, and we did some things to create some space. We could put up a desk in my daughter's room, so it's like all right, she can pretty much manage herself. Like she'll come to me with questions or whatever, but like you pretty much can handle this. Like just tell you like this is the stuff I'm looking for you to do today. Boom, done. With my son, obviously, it's a bit more hands-on involved. He needs that direction, that attention, and
Sure.
there was a lot of bumpy roads at the start. Even throughout the whole last year of just I'm trying to switch gears. I'm talking about ABCs one minute, then I'm talking about you know elements of science or something like with social studies. Like so, my brain was like switching context. Like it was too much.
Yeah.
I was short circuiting.
Yeah. But again, I mean, when it's new, just like anything else, you're learning on the fly. And then after you get into it, you kind of, you figure it out, and then, you're in your routine, I guess. Um, so do you think it's something you guys are going to continue, or do you think, if we kind of get back to how life used to be, they'll go back to school? Are you guys still on the fence on that, or?
Yeah, actually interesting. This week has been kind of a shift in what we're looking to do. So, me recognizing for myself, and this isn't beating myself down or anything like that, but recognizing like I've kind of taken my son as far as he can go with what I'm able to give him. So we asked him, and he made the decision. He chose, he wants to go back to school. So I'm like, all right, fine. So now we're starting that process of looking to re-enroll him because he's really a kid who needs a lot of structure. I I just don't have that ability to create that environment for him. You know,
Yeah.
it's a lot of stuff, and some people might hear this be like, "Oh, what a bad father! How could you?" I'm like, "Hey, listen, you're not me. You don't have him. Love him. That's my boy. That's my little man." But I've seen this long term, like he needs that interaction with other kids. He needs that stimulation from other people around, and he's a social kid. Like that's his thing. So give him what's useful for him. My daughter is gonna choose to continue for this year. She doesn't want to like jump into a new school, like kind of not even midway, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
we're already about 2 months in. That's gonna be just to her to play catch up. She didn't want to do that, so she continued through the rest of this year, and we'll see if she wants to go into seventh grade at a formal place or continue here. So we kind of left that in her hands, and she made that choice. And I think that's the big thing that I've really learned with this homeschool experience is the choices, right? Where everything from what I remember from growing up in school is like, this is the syllabus, right? This is the curriculum. This is how it goes.
Right.
On though it's October 8th today. Like if I missed this day, I missed October 8th completely. Versus here, I get a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more choice of like, hey, what do you want to learn today? Or what part of the book do you want to learn today? And
Well,
it
that's
doesn't mean like I'm flaky, wishy-washy. It's like it's choices. What do
yeah.
you choose?
Yeah, my daughter, she's in, well, she's homeschooled, but next she's in eighth grade. So, but she's chomping at the bit for us to let her go to high school next year so she can see what all the rage is about because she's involved in sports. So she hears about it by her teammates, and I'm like, yeah, if that's what you think it is, okay.
Oh God.
I'm like, we'll talk about going to high school, but you're
Yeah.
not going for 3 weeks and then want to change your mind. If you're going, you're going to go the whole year.
Yeah, right. There's no trial run. There's no Netflix trial.
Yeah. I said, then after your first year, if you don't like it, well, then we can have a discussion. But if you're going to commit to a year, you need to finish the year. But again, like you said, choices. My son right now, he has no interest in going to school. As he gets older, maybe he'll change his mind. So,
Yeah.
but again, choices are big. Um, but the next, I want to get a little bit. So you're a life and business coach, correct?
Yes, yes, that's correct.
Yes. Okay. And abundance, is that what it's called? Abundance of life? Abundance of
Abundance,
daily.
yeah, Abundance Daily. Yep, that's
Okay.
the coaching company. Me and my wife operate underneath it, but we have our separate clients, separate practices, separate ways of thinking and modalities. So,
Well, listen, I'm
yeah,
intrigued about this because I've heard the term life coach a lot. I've never talked to a life coach. I never known a life coach at all. So, I mean, tell me about what's a life coach? What does a life coach do?
yeah, that's a really good question. The best way that I could describe it, I'll tell you a quick story that might help a little bit better. So, let me just run down who have I recently spoken to that can actually, yeah, this one person comes to mind. So, I was speaking with this young lady one time, and actually, no, this is better. So, recent client, a former client of mine recently came back due to email me kind of in an emergency, like, hey, I need some help. I'm like, okay, like, hey, that stuff right there is like buzzwords to me. She's like, hey, I need some help. Okay, what do you need help with? Like, what's going on in your
Mhm.
world? We jump on a conversation, and what she wanted to talk about first was about some ideas around prospecting, creating clients for herself, just growing her practice. But the real thing that was happening was she was having a challenge for a business partner, right?
Mhm.
And I just poked around, just started exploring with her about what does it even mean to her? Like what does this other person's opinion of her really reflect on her? And like, and just kind of going through that process of looking at she's in control of her company, right? So the client I'm talking about, client's in
Yeah.
control. It's been a transition. They were business partners. The other person's kind of phased out, amicably. It's not like she forced her out, kicked her out, but the other person's still trying to like cling and hold on. So we're just looking at ways of, hey, how do we have this conversation with them to really reset those boundaries that you are the person in charge, you are the leader, and for you to be seen as that and really just grow into your your authority as the leader, as the head of this organization. And it was funny. She was like, you know what? I came here for one thing, and like, I didn't even want to go there. I didn't want to go here with you with this. But I was like, can you see why this is important? Like, if we
Yeah.
don't take care of this, it'd be like me putting a band-aid on a sinking boat, on a hole in the boat. We gotta like really fix this. We gotta, and not to say that I need to fix you, but this is gonna keep coming back. How can you
Yeah.
serve your other clients or prospective clients at a high level when you have this in the back of your mind of walking on eggshells with this person? Let's clear the air. Let's get really certain about what this relationship looks like. So that was that. And so what I share all that to kind of explain what I really do is help people kind of reconnect, rediscover their brilliance inside, rediscover their real identity. Because how you were talking about your daughter, like wants to go into high school, middle school age, that's where we create these things called personalities, and we kind of live by them permanently. Even as adults, we kind of just hold on to. It's like that Al Bundy thing. Like, remember I threw four touchdowns in a game? Well,
Okay.
yeah, Polk High, right? For some people, they hold on to, oh man, I was bullied as a kid, so now I'm always gonna be bullied. Oh man, I was the nerd, I was the outcast, I was never good enough, I could never achieve enough, and they hold on to this. So I just listen to someone's story and help them start recognizing their successes, their wins, and then how do we bridge the gap, shorten the distance, and create commitments that get you to what you really want. So that's a long-winded answer, but that's what I do in a nutshell.
Awesome. So do you only focus on people who have business hurdles or you do personal life stuff too?
You know, I I do my best work with the entrepreneurs, coaches, business owners. But if someone's having, I wouldn't say a regular person, quote unquote, someone who's not who doesn't fall into that mold, that's fine. What I really search for is people that are looking to become beyond ordinary, as I say it, and that's beyond ordinary.
Mhm.
And this is something me and my daughter created because we were talking one day, and she's like, I was like, yeah, you're extraordinary. You're great. She's like, yeah, but I'm just ordinary. I'm just extraordinary. I'm like, bet you're right. Okay, so let's go beyond that. We're beyond ordinary. We're beyond
Yeah,
ordinary, and I think there's opportunity for anybody really to go into to be who they really are and not feel like they have to shrink themselves because of something in somebody in their family, in their school, in their community, kind of put on them. We're not
sure,
permanent. We have the ability to reinvent. I mean, I am living proof of that. My life has been wild and crazy, and here I am before you talking. You know, I could have gone a lot of different directions, but
sure. So how long you been doing this?
yeah, that's a great question. I would say on paper, let's say 3 years since 2018. That's kind of like my declaration. Coaching. I would say really the last 2 years have been where I've taken it serious, where I've been connecting with a lot of um, high level thinkers, thought leaders, coaches, and working on my craft. And what that means is serving a lot of people, having a lot of conversations. Each conversation I walk away from, I feel better. Each time it's like, man, that was the best conversation I ever had. That was the best coaching I ever did. And then the next one happens like, man, that was the best one I ever did in my life. And it's just a constant elevation. Like I call it going up the mountain, where I want to take people to the apex, to the summit of their lives, and not feel like, oh my goodness, they're looking at this task, they're looking at this goal of theirs, and they're like, how do I do it? Like, hey, we're in this together. Come on, let's get our packs together. Let's do the full climb. Let's get the steps going. And
Yeah.
that's how great things happen. Just tiny steps. Most people think like I had to accelerate. That doesn't really happen.
Well, I'm sure you get a lot of fulfillment when you see people start to grow and reach that summit too. Obviously, I don't know. I'm just assuming, but you start out and, there's a lot of challenges, but once the ball gets rolling, even though you're going up a hill, it's kind of like the snowball effect. Once you get things going, it gets easier and easier.
Yeah.
Um, so what made you do it or start this, or did you just always think about it, have a knack or?
Uh, yeah, a little bit of all the above. I don't know if you've experienced this, but there's a lot of people. There's some people in the world that they can go into a room and just say hi to somebody like, "Hey, how's it going?" And then that person will give them the life story. Like they'll just
Mhm.
you didn't ask for it. You just ask, "Hey, how you doing?" And they just go. And and it's like, okay, wow. And so I've kind of always had that. My wife like laughs about it all the time. She's like, "You're not allowed to talk to anybody when we're outside. Like we're trying to go to this restaurant or whatever. Like don't
Yeah.
talk to anybody because we're gonna be out here for 20 minutes because you don't whatever." But yeah, I studied psychology in school. That was my undergrad, and I spent a lot of years in the nonprofit realm with working with people with developmentally different abilities, disabilities, special needs. And so listening to people, picking up on cues, just helping serving people has been a big thing. I've been always curious about people's behaviors, routines. 2016 is where I got exposed to coaching for the first time, where I was working a job. I was able to see seminars, go to conferences, learn about professional speakers, digital marketers, and it just clicked for me. Like this is what I had been looking for. I didn't know this world existed when I was going to school, but my path was the path. I did. I, all that had to happen for me to get to this place, and I just started to become obsessed with it. Learning books, podcasts, investing in courses, investing in coaching, and it was just fascinating to me. I'm like, wow, this is there's so much there's so much that I didn't know about my mind, about emotions that wasn't taught to me. And that's why I try to incorporate a lot of that into what I do at homeschool, like really that self-management, because it's so important. And so, yeah, to answer your question, that all of these things contributed to creating me.
So what do you think? I mean, without obviously you got to respect, your people's privacy, but and all your clients are all since you've been doing this last 3 years, 4 years or so, is there like a certain like one or two things that you think are most hurdles that people had? Is it mostly psychological? Is it just self-doubt? Is it just not knowing where to start, no goals, all the above? I mean, is there like something that you usually are seen more often than not in these situations?
Yeah, yeah. There's two things that come to mind, and one thing, and they both kind of bleed into each other. So I like to play with the thought of distinctions with people, and a lot of people come to the table with quote unquote limiting beliefs, right? I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't know how to do this, all this different stuff. And what I do my best to help them shift in or look into, or at least become aware of, is, this other side called certainty, right? If I have to believe in myself, that takes courage. That takes me having to like pump myself up. It's like, kind of rewind your mind at a school dance, fifth grade, sixth grade, and you see a pretty girl across the way, and it's like, all right, I gotta like pump myself up to ask her to dance, and it's like, okay, yeah, belief is important, but like, what if I was certain? What if I knew I looked at her across the way and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna dance with her and she's gonna dance with me. And not an arrogance, not a cockiness, but just an inner knowing, a grounding within yourself. Like, I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna ask her to dance. How do you operate? How do you move differently in the world with you when you have that kind of energy behind you? And then it goes into the next challenge that people that I see a lot of is the distinction with intention versus commitment. Intention for me is like your New Year's resolutions. Um, if you and me were getting together for a barbecue or something like that, and be like, "Hey, Alex, you're gonna come over to the barbecue. It starts at 3. Justin, I'll try to make it. There's a good chance you're not counting on me to make it, right?
Right.
Or if I owe
Yeah,
you money,
when
like,
someone says we'll see, they
yeah,
ain't
well,
coming.
yeah, well, yeah, we'll see. What do you need to see? Like, what do you need to see,
Yeah.
right? Or it's like, someone owes you $20. Hey, can you get this to me by Friday? Oh man, no, I'm gonna try. Don't You're not gonna count on seeing that money, but a commitment is like a commitment is is what happens. And most people kind of blur those lines. Like, yeah, I intended to make 100 grand in my business this year. Well, what were you committed to doing? Did you
Yeah.
commit to talking to X amount of people a day? Did you commit to making X amount of proposals or invitations, offers a day or a week? Like, what was the commitment? Because the commitment is what you can do. The intention's kind of like someday island. Like, yeah, someday I'm gonna make it. Someday I'm gonna have this. Someday, if I'm committed to, as a parent, right? And this might sound like a silly question for you, but like, do your kids eat every day?
Uh, yeah, my wallet says they do.
But you know what I mean? It's one of those things
Yeah,
like, yeah, I'm committed to that. I'm committed to making sure like my kids eat, that they shower, that they go to sleep. Like that's not something I have to think about. Like it's something that I do.
yeah,
And when we can operate from a place of certainty and commitment, your word becomes really valuable. Like us, we both said, hey, we're committed to meeting at this time on this day. What happened? We're meeting on this time and this date.
yeah,
That's fulfilling a commitment, and it's really for yourself too. It's you. So to answer your question, a lot of challenges I see with people is that they're shaky because they don't keep their word to themselves. So they can't trust themselves, and now they're in this weird purgatory of I want to do this, but like let's keep your word. Can you keep a small promise to yourself?
yeah,
Let's keep it really simple. Let's not make this like I have to, you know, I want to lose 100 pounds, so I'm going to lose it tomorrow. 10 hours on the treadmill. Like, no. Can you just commit to drinking some water, getting some rest, and
yeah,
maybe eating from this time to this time and eating these kind of meals? Yeah, I can do that, and it becomes easy. And then now it's reflexive. It's not something you think about because this is not only what you do, but this is who you being. This is who you're being. It's a big psychological shift that most people. It's scary because everything they've done up to this point has got them to where they are, to where they're at. And I don't want to lose that. I like this version of me. I like the Cheeto Alex. I like the Doritos Alex. I like the non-committed kind of flaky, kind of go with the flow thing. What do you mean I
yeah.
have to operate at, I get to operate or I get to choose how I create my life? Well, that's most people are living on default versus design. So it's scary.
Yeah, and you mentioned you went to seminars and reading books, and I watch a lot of self stuff, and I love to read. So I'll ask you in a little bit what some of your favorite books are because I'm curious. But you probably saw the YouTube video. I don't know how old it is, 10 years, 12 years, 5 years, but it was I believe it was a Marine was given a speech at a graduation,
Make your
and in the
bed.
very, yes, the very beginning, making your
Yeah.
bed will change your life, and it's just like
Yes.
that opening statement. Goes just to piggyback off what you just said. If you just commit to making your bed in the morning, it'll lead into other things. Essentially,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
start small.
Yes. That first little win of the day. I mean, I do my best to pour it at my kid, and yeah, just that when I flip my sheets and I see it and I kind of lay out the pillows, I'm like, whew, check,
Yeah,
done. Because it's like the feeling of like going to a hotel. It's like we just went on vacation a couple weeks ago, and it was just great to see the bed made. It's like
yeah.
it's not.
It's
It's
like anxiety. Like for me, like my thing is again a little quirk inside my personal life is for me dishes are like give me
oh
anxiety. Like I hate dirty dishes. Like like I want when I love to see the counters cleaned off, dishes put away. Like if there's
yeah.
dirty dishes after I give like it overcome like it like my mood changes. I'm like it has to get done now.
Man, I'll
I
tell you
hate
this.
if
My dad
I would
instilled that in me a lot, where
yeah.
you don't go to bed with the sink full.
Oh
And
God,
there would be times he would wake me up like, "Hey, sink is full."
yeah. But you were happy in the morning when you woke up and it was clean.
Yeah. And
Like
this is pre-dishwasher. Like I'm talking about like me 10, 11, 12, scrub them by hand, like
Yeah.
knowing that, oh man, this is gonna be like another half hour of me doing this, but it gets done. And
Well, I'm not.
that's a big thing he instilled in me, like just get it done now.
Yeah, I'm not sure how old you are, but I'm gonna assume we're around the same age. But I tell my kids, I'm like, when I was a kid, I was the TV remote control, I was the
Yep.
landscaper, I was the dishwasher.
The house sweeper, you know what I mean? All that, like
Yeah, I had a lot of jobs. I was like, man, I think we were like 12 when we got cable and the remote, man. I was like, holy, I mean, I felt liberated. I was like, this is great. And we had more than three channels or whatever it was,
Oh
four
man.
channels.
Yes. Yes.
um, so yeah, books. So I like I said, I love to read. I try to read a few books a month. So what are some of your so what are your favorites, all-time favorites books that you, I mean, it doesn't have to be about business, just anything. What do you like to read?
Yeah. Whew. Man, we can have this could be like another hour of of the yeah, so the books that made the biggest difference for me, one, the autobiography of Malcolm X, read that in high school and completely really helped me shift because I was having a lot of challenges at that time. And yeah, just to read about his life and recognizing like, hey, he went from like this low life, a convict, to ascending to the voice of a generation. This cut down short, unfortunately, but yeah, that made a huge impact on me. um Long Walk to Freedom with Nelson Mandela, another great one. This book called The Carpenter by John Gordon. It's about business, about success, and it's what inspired the name from my podcast, Love Serve Care. These three principles of doing business and building relationships. And funny thing about that, I received that book, let's see, 2014. It sat on my shelf for like in my car and my shelf for like 6 years. And one day I was like, hey, I've never read this. Let me just finish. I'd like to kind of complete things. And I was like, whoa, why did I not read this 6 years ago? But time is everything. So that was a big thing. This book, The Prosperous Coach by Steve Chandler, Rich Liffin, that was a huge shift for me in my growth as a coach, because 2016, 2017, I was focusing a lot on like the digital marketing side, trying to create a lot of different things. And that book really helped me slow down and think about building relationships and really applying a different way of thinking as far as being a coach, and what a coach really means is not a cheerleader or a yes man. Is really looking at how do you challenge people's thinking and love them at the same time. And so that was really helpful for me. Man, trying to think of a lot of Steve Chandler's books. He's written like over 30 books, and he's somebody I really admire as far as his work, his way he's built this practice. So I can go on about his
Yeah.
books and his works, but those three or four I just mentioned, those are like ones that have really stuck with me and really made an impact.
Well, I've never read the Malcolm X book, but I've seen the movie quite a few times. And if you ever want a lesson or a story or history on someone who can change their life around, I mean, I'm sure the book's better than the movie, like in most cases, but just the
Yeah.
movie, like you said, he's a total different person. From
The
a
movie did the
deeper
book a lot of
emotional.
justice. Yeah,
Yeah,
it pretty much it stayed right to it. Obviously, there's more details and stuff like that in the book, but yeah, that
sure.
I remember watching that, 9 years old, and I don't think I've ever sat through a movie and didn't speak before. Like I was just completely locked in, and my brothers and my sister were like, "Are you okay?" And I'm just sitting in our basement. I'm just like, I'm watching this. I can't even believe like what I'm seeing. And so, yeah,
Yeah,
his life story, his work, his messages have a big impact on me.
yeah. So, who are some of your favorite speakers?
Les Brown, for sure. I mean, he's like the goat
Yeah.
of goats. E.T. Eric Thomas. What up? What up? You know, everybody knows who he
He's
is.
a Detroit boy. He's a
Yeah,
Detroit guy.
Detroit, right? Yeah, Detroit all day, right?
My favorite Eric Thomas. Again, back to the video. Meet me at the ocean at freaking 5 a.m. and walk in that water.
How
Deep
how
water,
bad you
kid.
want to succeed?
Yeah, that's. I mean, I start and stop with that video as far as Eric Thomas goes. That's it. That's all you need, man. If
Yeah.
you don't get it after that,
I mean, it's all just gonna be, what is he
yeah,
talking about?
exactly.
No, come on,
Yeah,
like succeed, man. We're talking about that's commitment for sure.
yeah.
Um, yeah, Jim Rohn's work, really love hearing his work. Rich Litvin, Steve Chandler, those are the two authors of that book I mentioned, Prosperous Coach. Really enjoy their work. And um, oh, Inky Johnson, yeah, he's kind of a newer guy,
Okay.
former
Yeah, I've
football.
never heard.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
a former college football player at Tennessee. He wound up his career ended on a tackle. He wound up paralyzing
Mm,
his arm. I mean, but he's a powerful speaker. I mean, he's got some. So I'm gonna send you over something from
yeah,
him. Yeah,
yeah. Please do.
yeah.
I that's unless my kids are in the car, and even then I got to fight with my teenage daughter. But all it
Mhm.
is talk, podcast. That's
Yeah,
it. Regular radio don't do nothing for me anymore.
yeah.
So it's a sign of getting old. When I don't know who the music is that my kids are putting on, I'm old.
But listen to Olivia Rodrigo. What's going on, bro? Like, come on.
Now
You
I
know?
hear a lot about Post Malone. Uh, oh God, I can't even. Another female artist. She's popular. I forget her name. Like I said, I'm an old man now. I just am. I can't keep up with it.
Yeah, it was funny during vacation, like last month. We were in Florida, right? And one night, after we're done, playing at Universal, we're watching TV, and the MTV Music Awards come on, and me and my wife were like, "Who are these people? Like, what is this?"
Yeah.
Like,
Remember, dude, in the '90s, the MTV Music Awards was like must-watch TV. That was like, I believe
that
it
was a
came on
big
a
deal.
Sunday. Yeah, and then
Yeah,
Monday you talked about your friends. Can you believe they won Best Artist? Oh, they won this, man.
yeah,
They got gypped out of this, and
yeah,
um, my kids don't even know what we have. It. We got rid of cable in January 2017, and we never got it back. So my kids literally, they don't know what MTV is. They have no idea
yeah,
what VH1 is, and it's like those were staples for us.
yeah. Uh, I saw something the other day. This girl I'm friends with, she shared a video with I guess it's like a TikTok thing. These kids were doing a 2000s challenge. So like they're dressing up like in throwback jerseys, big white tees, doing like all the dances like in the early 2000s. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. We are not old. Old stuff is like the 70s, the 80s, not 2000. Like, screw these kids.
Yeah.
Don't judge me. I used to watch TRL, Rap City, 106 in Park. Like that was my
Yo,
afternoon after
yo,
getting home from
MTV
school.
Raps.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That was my afternoon, like that stretch of time, just
Yeah,
watching music videos.
it was all of ours. I absolutely. I mean, TRL again. Who was
Oh
going to
my
be the number
goodness,
one spot? I mean,
right? Is it Backstreet? Backstreet, go Britney, Limp Bizkit. It's all about the nookie, They don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. NSYNC, Eminem, all those guys, man. They just
Yeah,
ran it.
yeah,
So,
100%.
so you brought your family from New York. So we really haven't talked much about your wife, but you're married, got two kids, life's going good, family of four. I'm a family of four. So how is it, or from a dad to dad's perspective? Like, tell me. I mean, what challenges or what do you think? I have this discussion with some of my elder family statesmen about raising a family in today's world versus what they had to raise us in. And I always like to ask dad, especially when I meet him, like, is there any, what challenges do you find, good, bad, indifferent? Do you think it's all the same, just different problems? Do you think we have more challenges with the social media aspect with kids, or kind of what's your take on that? I know it's an all-encompassing
No,
question.
yeah, no, that makes sense. Hmm. Kind of what you now were kind of describing before with our upbringing with all these multifacets, all these hats we wore, right? You know, sweeping the house, cleaning this, doing this, and it's easy. I kind of feel almost like the old man in the room's like, back in my day, we used to
Yeah,
have to do this, and but we go through all that so we can make it a little bit easier for our kids. But we also, I kind of recognize like, man, I want them to have a little bit of the struggle too. I want them to have like that adversity
absolutely.
because it builds your character. You can't get your way all the time, and
No doubt.
that's one of the things I'm
Yeah,
recognizing for them is like, I want my tablet. Like, you don't need your tablet. You don't need these things. There's a thing called outside.
yeah.
There's a thing called your imagination. It's a lot cooler than what's on that screen.
uh, 10 times cooler. Like I'm sure you did too. Like I had video games, in the when I was a kid in the 90s, but it wasn't like a everyday 6 hour. It was like you played video games when it was like raining outside or
Right?
or it was like 0 degrees. It
Yeah.
wasn't like I got off the school bus, ran inside and turned on, Sega Genesis or, PlayStation 1, not to date ourselves, and
Some
rock
kids
out
would be
for
like,
7 hours.
PlayStation 1? Like, yes,
Yeah,
in order to get the PS5, you have to get to like one first, right, kids? Like,
yeah, exactly. Um,
yeah. No, that's true
yeah,
though.
no,
I mean, the street lights being my compass, like, okay, it's time to get home now. Ride my bike, play basketball, play football with friends, and obviously the time we're in right now, pandemic, all that stuff, like that's kind of been taken away from them. So I do empathize with them for that, but you know,
I think you got to take away the last 18 months, kind of
yeah,
set that aside. But yeah, I mean, you grew up in Long Island, right? You said,
yeah, yeah, Long
yeah. So
Island.
you were, city living. I've never been to Long Island. I've only been to Manhattan, so I'm assuming it's more of a city. I grew up in a large neighborhood near a downtown. Not like in a major city. I grew up about 40 minutes north of Detroit, but yeah, it was nothing, for you, like you said, to get on your bike and ride, a mile down the road. But I'm not gonna lie, now as a parent, I don't know if I'd let my kids do that.
Yeah, it's wild, man. I would just be out. I would be wherever. I would go all around my town, go on highways and stuff like that. Just it wouldn't, it wouldn't be anything to me. I wouldn't think about it. It's like, all right,
Yeah,
it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll see you guys back, around 7, 8 o'clock. See ya. Where were you?
yeah,
I don't have a cell phone. I don't have a beeper. I'm just
right.
out. If
Yeah, in
you, the way
Michigan,
to find me is like you find where's the house with all the bikes? That's probably
right.
where I am.
Yeah, like in Michigan, you can you return your pop bottles there, and you get our soda bottles. You get 10 cents per bottle. So we get with a couple other kids, and we'd all ride up to the party store, or the liquor store is what we called it. Party store, and we turn in all of our bottles and get candy and gum, and ride our
Yeah.
bikes home, and we have the sack like Santa Claus of bottles on our back. And it's like, hey, how many bottles you got? Oh, I got 20. Okay, we got a couple bucks.
Oh
So,
man, that
but
is good. But you learn how to, as a kid, like you learned how to just figure out something. You just, man, I want to get like some gum. I want to get a bag of chips. How do we do that? All right, let's go find it. Some kids, my neighborhood were like, hey, I'm gonna go rob and steal. Okay, that's your thing. But but you find a way. You just start creating some different things.
well, when I was 18, again, you're an adult, but still 18. I drove from Michigan with two high school friends to Myrtle Beach with a
Oh my.
map. Like again, we didn't have a GPS. We didn't have. We had a pay by the minute cell phone, one of us, so just in case we could call one of our parents. But our parents were like, "Yeah, if you guys can make it there with a map," and that's what we did. We bought a map, and three 18-year-old kids, took us 14 hours, but we got there and we got home.
Wow.
I mean, even adults, it's like they can't go down the road without a GPS. I'm like, it's right down the street. But it goes back to the conveniences. It makes our life easier, but I think sometimes it makes us lazy too. So, um,
Yeah.
because sometimes
This.
the GPS don't work. You
Yeah.
know.
What happens when the battery dies, right? Yeah. This
Yeah.
speaker, his name is Jim Quick. He talked about how we how we're almost developing digital dementia, right?
Mm.
and you might be able to really resonate with this, being we're kind of in the same age range. When you were growing up, how many phone numbers did you remember? Right?
Yeah, well, I five easily that I still remember three to this day. But my mom, we had the magnet on the fridge. Shows like,
Yeah.
next door neighbor Judy and dad
Yeah.
and grandma and the
Yeah.
doctor, the school.
You know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean? Like in
Yeah.
a case of a real emergency, like you're in some trouble, you know where to go. I mean, sometimes right now I see a number, I'm like, who's this? Like I know about like three or four solid numbers still. I still remember like my old house number, but like,
Yep.
the youth of today, that's a skill that, you don't develop because, oh yeah, what's your number? I'll text you, and you don't think about it anymore. When I was kind of coming up and trying to like meet, some young ladies, man, I had to either put it on my hand or a paper. If I didn't have that, just recite it. Like, all right, 631, da, 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 da. Okay, I got it. And call later on that day. And it's a fun exercise because you got to remember,
Yeah.
man, was it a 232 or was it 212? Oh my God.
I'll just dial them all.
Oh man, dude, don't get me started on the dials, man.
Yeah. Well, I remember being in school, man. You just take out the pen, you write it on your hand, and then you didn't want to sweat. You're like, no, man, I got June 5th hour, man. I ain't messing with this. I'm taking it easy.
Oh, especially if she writes it. Oh
Yeah.
man, dude, it's like give me a plastic bag or something. Like give me like a case. Like this
Yeah.
is off limits. You can't. Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to this guy, and he's like 26, 25, 26 years old. He's like, hey, man, don't you remember in high school when, if you had a test second hour and then your buddy had the same class, but he didn't have it in fifth hour and you take a picture of the test and text it to him? I'm like, no, I didn't. No, we actually
No.
had to take the test, man. Like, we didn't walk around with cameras in our pocket. I was like,
We had to do like the
I don't
next
think,
strain, like
yeah,
if you're gonna
exactly.
go
We got
that
to do it
route.
the old, yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't think a computer came into my home until I was 16 or 17 is when we got our first computer. And,
Yeah.
it took 40 minutes just to get on the internet.
Oh my God. God forbid if anybody made a phone call during the same time.
Oh,
No.
yeah, restart. What are your thoughts on social media, good or bad? Are you more of like hey, it can be both? Does it make you nervous with kids and social media? Or are you just like, hey, it's all about keeping your kids, focused and just, let them understand, that these are the consequences if you do certain things on social media.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing that you and I didn't have. Listen, I did something stupid in 1995. There's no history of it. There's no track. I mean, there's no, yep. I mean,
True. True.
so now our kids are basically like real world, you know?
Yeah, man. Social media, goodness. Right now, our daughter's on it. I mean, she has like a messenger's kids thing, like she talks to friends, but outside of
So,
that, as long as I can keep her, I feel like the longer I can keep her off of that, the better it'll be for her self-esteem. Obviously, for my son when he comes of age, and yeah, because what I feel like it's conditioned a lot of kids to do is the approval. It's like, look at me, look at what I'm doing, um, see me. It's like, well, how about you just do something that's remarkable? How about you just be yourself?
yeah,
That's really more than enough. I don't need this external need for validation because then you hear about like the cyberbullying and stuff like that. And I'm not saying I'm not being insensitive to that, but I'm like when I had real bullies in my realm, that was like real threats. Like, okay, this guy might try to fight me. This guy might be saying something like right directly to me harmful. How do I respond? Do I come back at him and then like we escalate? Do I ignore it? How do I do that with social media? It's like we're trained to respond and react. Notification, ding! Oh my God, someone liked this picture. Oh, and then someone liked Justin's picture, and then this person commented on Justin's picture. Then they liked this. Oh, and we're forgetting about being in the moment
Yeah, man.
It's how can I get these? How can I get the thumbs up? What does a thumbs up even
Followers.
mean? Yeah, a follower. Like, are you even a leader? Why
Yeah,
would someone follow you?
in a perfect world, I would love to get rid of it. Like I would love just to get rid of social media in my life. And then people will say, "Oh, you can't. It's just a choice." But as a person who I'm in business that way. It's just a fact. That's how I
Yeah,
provide for my family. So it's like I
yeah,
catch 20, it's like but it's just not with kids. I see it with adults. I mean, I had somebody, this was not recent, but I had somebody upset because they weren't invited to my son's birthday party and they saw the pictures on Facebook. And it's like, I mean, bro, he's a 7-year-old boy. Like, I mean, it's like, we ate cake and eat ice cream and, opened up Superman figurines. Like, I mean, it
you
wasn't
didn't
not,
miss.
yeah.
Right?
I mean, it wasn't no like, shindig here. It was in and out in
Yeah,
2 hours.
yeah,
But yeah, so and look, I see it. I mean, it's, kids is one thing, they're coming up with it, but, adults have the same issue. It's just, I have a love hate with it. It does make me nervous. My daughter's not on it. She has the kids messenger thing too, but
yeah,
I've seen and heard she's very involved in gymnastics, and I just remember this was a couple years ago. The one girl in there came out running to her mom, crying hysterically. Like I thought maybe she'd gotten hurt,
yeah,
but you're sitting right there. You can kind of hear the conversations, and it turned out that she was being bullied on the internet, on Facebook or whatever. And it's just, I mean, she was visibly, I mean, she was not good. She was hurt, and it was just like
yeah,
that's the stuff that scares me.
yeah. Same thing as for you're saying, like the love hate. Yeah, I use that. I connect with people, and I think that's the thing where we as parents, as adults, be conscious of like this is a tool that we use. So at the time we're recording this, we just had what I call the big thumbs down earlier this week, where Facebook, Instagram was wiped out for a few hours, and people were freaking out, like had no clue what to do.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, I was annoyed. I was, kind of like, oh man, what do I do for a few minutes? And then I was like, oh, I can get working on my book. I can get working on some different projects, and I got so much more done in like that 6 hours span, and that would have probably taken me a week, maybe 2 weeks,
yeah.
versus because I'm not scrolling, I'm not having conversations. So it's really kind of remembering that this is a tool to use. Don't let this use us. Don't let it consume you to the point of, oh my goodness, uh, I gotta respond right away, right away, right away. Right. You know what? Give yourself an hour break. Give yourself a 2 hour break. If it's okay. You're not gonna. The world is gonna continue to spin, and we found that out earlier this week.
Yeah.
The world is still going.
What annoys me and again, this, I'm going to put this on video and we're going to post it. And this might be a bad reflection on me. It's one of my pet peeves is when, and it's mostly, clients when they message you at ridiculous hours. Okay. And I'm an early riser. I get up very early every morning. I don't stay up late. So I had somebody who was trying to get a hold of me at 1 a.m., 1
Mm,
o'clock in the morning. And this is why I don't have my phone in my bedroom anymore. It stays out in the living room, but I keep it in my room just in case, you get a call in the middle of the night, all my family's back in Michigan, and parents are getting older, that kind of things. But anyways, I digress. So I got up, I saw that I missed a message, and not a phone call, but a text message at 1 a.m. So I got up and I responded. I called this person at 5:30 in the morning, and they were livid. And I said, "Well, I'm just calling you back. I'm just texting you back. You texted me." Yeah. Oh, last night. I'm like, no, no, not last night. 4 hours ago. No, 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 no. You want to call
yeah,
me at 1 o'clock? What do you think I'm doing? I'm sleeping. Just like I know most people are sleeping at 5:30. So just respect our boundaries here.
yeah. That's a
Uh,
good example for them. Yeah, they won't forget that lesson. That's
yeah. Hey, you can email me. That's fine. But anyways, well, cool, man. We're gonna start wrapping up here. So as we kind of close it down, so I just like to pull it all back together. Alex from New York, brought his family down here, enjoying the JoCo. Just in the 4 years you've been here, I mean, what do you think about all the growth going on? Good, bad, and different? More than you anticipated?
Um, I'm indifferent to it. I mean, I kind of stay in my bubble here in the house, and but it is really interesting to see like road work here, 42, like these buildings, these things popping up. I'm like,
Yeah,
all I really want to know is like, can we just get a Chick-fil-A out by my area? I'm like on the Cleveland side. Like, can we just get like a Chick-fil-A like right over here? That's all I want. So
you know,
if you're a town official administrator, this is from me to you. Help a brother out. Like, come on.
I I feel like Clayton, like we kind of get because I kind of like I live in Clayton too, but on the other side, but on the side you live on. But I think we're like wedged between Gardner and Smithfield. So either it goes to Gardner or it goes to Smithfield. Like
Right?
nothing in Clayton. Like I mean, where's we don't have I mean we do have I'll give them a little plug here because I do like to support small local businesses. But Hudson's there in Clayton, for
Yeah.
home improvement stuff. But sometimes you got to go to Home Depot or Lowe's, and no
Yeah.
matter which one, we're hiking there. It ain't like it's
Yeah.
down the road. So I feel like that. Yeah, I feel like we're wedged in, and it either goes here or there, and either way, it's not convenient for us.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, this is a big town. Like, come on.
Right.
Like, help us. Help me.
Yeah. I mean, I know we got the people. They're moving here in droves. I know you're gonna make money.
Exactly.
And show me a Chick-fil-A that don't make no money. I mean, show me one.
It's hard to
I
find
don't
one.
I don't even drive by one where the line is, wrapped around, you know.
Right? I mean,
So
yeah. They're impressive.
yeah. Yeah, unless it's a Sunday, you're waiting in line.
Yeah.
So
See with that or some Biscuitville and you that's it.
that's another place. They're busy all the time too.
Yeah.
So I drive by there. My son plays hockey. We go out there about 8:30 in the morning, Saturday and Sunday. It's the line. I'm like, man,
It just
yeah,
rapid ramp. Yeah.
yeah. um, so cool, man. So let's play a little. As we wrap up here, let's play a little rapid fire, man. Like
Uh,
3 or 4 or 5 questions. Nothing too serious. More fun.
all right,
So,
cool.
what is whatever. So biggest adjustment, shock, surprise that you've had to make living in the South compared to the North.
Uh, two
Maybe
things.
something you didn't expect that is.
Um, I probably should have expected this, but like just the animals. Across our way, this one neighbor has a donkey, like literally a donkey. And first time hearing it, I was like, "What is that noise?" I thought it was like a gorilla or something. I didn't even know what it was. I was freaking out, and then I kind of see across the way. I'm like, "Oh my, is that a donkey? Like from Shrek? Like it's a donkey." So that was definitely something different. Seeing cows and horses, that's not what I saw in like the suburbs in Long Island. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, especially once you get kind of even more out in Johnston County too. It's like, I like drive past a hog farm and I'm like, that is a lot of pigs. It's like that's like a sea of them. So,
yeah.
are you more of a beach or a mountain person?
I would say the beach right now. We haven't really experienced the mountains out here yet, and that's something I definitely am, but that's on target. But from Long Island, we had beaches all around, so beach is like beach is life. Like I love the
Yeah.
beach.
Yeah. How do you feel about the going to the beach, like you said earlier, when it's 100 out? Probably a lot different than going to the beach in Long Island.
Yeah, and it's one of those things of a lot of mental preparation. Like we have to prepare. Like all right, it's gonna be like a 2 hour drive
Yeah.
versus where we were at. It's like all right, 30 minutes. We're here for the day. We're back. We're out. We're chilling. So it's really a lot of that. It's like, do
Yeah.
we want to go today? Because we have to like really get set up and get ready to go. So
No doubt. So Clay, let's talk about the food here. So do you miss the food back home or do you like the food here?
I'm sorry, Clayton, but I do miss the food back home. I miss some good old Chinese foods and pizza, bagels. Like, yeah, some of our favorite restaurants are back home. So y'all doing good. This is not me. don't put my face up on the picture, picture on the wall. Like, don't serve this guy, or like,
Yeah.
spit in this guy's food. But yeah,
I miss the food too. You know what I miss? I miss delivery. Like you could get anything delivered you wanted. Like, you want Chinese
yeah,
delivered, pizza. I mean, maybe I just live a little too far out. I only have one restaurant. I mean, you could do the Grubhub thing, but I only have one place that will deliver to us, a pizza place, and that gets
yeah,
old.
yeah, yeah. I know we
So
got DoorDash, but like, there's nothing like kind of like having some like that place bring you your food. It's like, yes, it's here. Like,
yeah,
pizza dude is
yeah,
here. Like, come on.
yeah. You gotta have your regular, man. I mean,
Yeah.
you would order so much you get to know the delivery guy. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's all about
um,
relationships for sure.
yep. Uh, so are you looking, so for your business wise, we can put a link in here if you want us to. People can reach out to you directly. Send me your Facebook link. I'll put it in the link too, so they can reach out to you. Are you currently looking for more clients? Are you good or?
Yeah, definitely. You know, practice is open to service support, either individuals or teams. Private coaching options are available, and as far as teams go, looking to help out with if your organization could looking for some support with how to improve relationships with clients, improve your sales mindset and strategies. That's something that I really love. I love to train and love to do things like that. So there's some options available. So if anybody wants to connect, therealalexdumas.com, that's the website. That's where you find out about me, and yeah, make it happen.
Awesome, man. Well, again, I appreciate you talking. Just two regular guys having a general open conversation.
Yeah,
Uh, Anybody watching this, you want to get more, come on here and talk. Just like I said, just trying to do these conversations, whatever you want to talk about. Some people like to go deeper, some people don't. Whatever. I'm an open book. So, well, thanks again, man. Have a great weekend and enjoy your relaxing Friday. And maybe we'll do this again sometime, or we'll see each other out here in the big city of Clayton.
yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, maybe we'll go to Smithfield. We'll go to like a Chick-fil-A or something.
Yeah, yeah.
uh, no,
That's the one that we usually go to because that one up at White Oak is always uber crazy busy.
yeah,
So
that's pretty wild out there. But yeah, this has been fun. I really enjoyed this conversation. Really glad that we made this time for each other, and yeah, appreciate you and looking forward to staying connected for sure.
awesome, man. All right, man. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
No problem. Stay blessed, bro.
You too.